Hey everybody, it's Zeidoktor here with Typical Manga Fan, and in this episode of the Typical Manga Review, we have a special double feature here for you of Inside Mari, chapters 55 and 56. They just kind of came out together this week. Unfortunately, Crunchyroll kind of pulled a dick move on us, and 55 is blocked unless you subscribe. That's just their system in action, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't think it was intentional, but I think they just neglected to check.
Yeah.
What happened.
Yep. In any case, we'll start with chapter 55, The Moment Someone Falls in Love. The cover is a picture of Yori, glasses kind of hanging off of her nose there.
And that is all there is covering her, the glasses.
Yep. And we open with Mari and Yori returning home, or returning to Yori's sister.
Sister Mari. Call her Sister Mari.
Sister Mari. Oh, that's right. Sister Mari promptly starts calling Yori out on what she just did right there. Like running off the way she did. You know how much trouble you've caused? I've been looking out for you for hours, and Mari's been looking for you too. All for your sake. I was on the verge of reporting your disappearance to the police.
She cares.
Yeah.
All I took from this was that she cares.
Yep, and she does. Like, it's like the whole anger born of worry type of thing, which actually does get to Yori. She actually starts bawling and apologizing. And they hug and make up, and they kind of go away. And as she's leaving, as Mari gets to look at Yori crying without her glasses on, seems to have an effect on her. Like, yeah. And then after that, like I said, Sister Mari drives Mari home, and we wake up the next morning. Mari goes to school, and she's remembered how on the bridge, on the overpass there, she told Yori she loves her. And the day pretty much just goes by like nothing else is going on differently, except for Mari's heart's skipping a beat when she sees Yori.
And we did get character development between her sister and Yori, though. That's also important to note.
Yeah, because like I said, we were always under the assumption that she was some kind of like bully or jerk to her.
Yep.
Right. Going from there, we move on to chapter 56, The Sky at Sunset. And again, we have Yori, but with more covering. Mari walks into the classroom, heart just blasting away, remembering her confession. And it's like they're just kind of awkward.
It really is, though. I mean, you know what's interesting, though, is that a lot of these chapters start off with her just going into school, but there's always like a little small difference, you know?
Yep. Whether
it's, seeing Momoka ignore her, seeing Yori not there, now seeing Yori there. It's an interesting, subtle difference, but at the same time, it's also a lot of similarities. As if everyday school life, you know?
Yep. And then Yori's, she's sorry about the day before, and she also thanks Mari for going after her. Like, she wants to walk home together today.
Yeah.
Like,
the relationship is definitely changing.
Oh, yeah. Like, they can't even seem to keep eye contact.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Mari at this point is in love with Yori.
Yeah. And speaking of that, like, Yori's answering that she finally saw the message that Mari sent her about the photo, about quote-unquote Mari's memory, coming back to her. She shows her the picture of Fumiko, and remembers the memory of being on the Ferris wheel, which she thinks was something like her grandmother.
So, but she also points out that even though that girl was called Fumiko, she was that girl.
Mm-hmm.
She said like that was me. Let me because I'm kind of catching up here on the chapters.
Yeah. Of course, one thing that kind of annoys me on here is like Mari's like when I asked my mom, she didn't seem to know. More like flouted, denied, and told you not to talk about it anymore. I got the exact opposite impression from that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, did she not know that, or is she just not? Is she being careful what she's saying? I don't understand. Like, let me. Oh, here we go. Found it. I was on the Ferris with my grandmother, maybe, and they only showed two people there. So I am assuming that she assumed that she's talking about that Fumiko girl was her.
Yeah.
She said I said was so high, and she said, "Isn't it impressive, Fumiko?" So that means that she has she saw
through Fumiko's eyes.
Yeah, she saw through Fumiko's eyes. That's what it is. But it's interesting that she hasn't noted why she calls herself Fumiko rather than Mari. You know.
Yep.
And then she said that that's what Grandma called her, and you also point out that how like it seemed like Mari pointed out that it seemed like she didn't know, but in reality it looked like she did know, just didn't want to tell her.
Yeah, that's the exact. I got the exact opposite impression that Mari got there.
But here's the thing: is Mari just saying that because she's trying to deny, like she's in denial that they know that they're trying to hide something from her, or does she actually just is that stupid? Or is that? Huh?
Isao could be that stupid.
Well, Isao has blended into this Mari thing we have, and also yeah, but yeah, you're right. He's not could be that stupid. But the thing is though, like or maybe the facial expressions. I don't know, like it's not something. It was obvious that even not just from the audience, but even the characters, like Mari should have seen like how weirdly she acted when Fumiko was.
Oh, you're breaking up.
Mentioned.
Hang on, you broke up
in front of her. So I was just saying. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was just saying it's really weird. Like Mari should have noted how weirdly her mom was acting when Fumiko was mentioned in front of her.
Right. Anyway, like moving on from there, though, like Yori's thinking back to the time she went to an amusement park with her mom and sister when she was a kid, and this kind of brings up Yori's own family history, where her dad pretty much ran out on them when she was born, so she's never even met the guy. Like, and she remembers that she remembers like the amusement park that they're probably both thinking of, which was Tokyo Dome City. So they decide to. Well, actually, that comes a little later. Like Yori takes note of the evening sky; it's beautiful, and pretty much just suddenly grabs Mari's hand and starts running off with her. And Mari just kind of like, "Oh my god!" at the physical contact.
It's so weird. I mean, I cannot. It's so weird. Like I no longer see him as a Sao at all. Or her as a Sao at all.
Not really.
Like,
no.
Not really. Like she is not the Mari that they've talked about. Not the Sao that we started with. But she is a new character. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing how this has happened.
I think Isao is pretty much done with the story at this point, barring some development later.
Well, yeah. And of course they look at this as double face spread of the scenery. The scenery, yeah.
It doesn't really look like a sunset because it's how it's drawn, but that's what it's supposed to be because it's Yori's favorite sunset spot.
Yeah. And they're holding hands the entire time.
Yep.
So pointing out there.
Yeah, Mari's about to say something, but backs off. But Yori tells her that she wants to try and find that Ferris wheel from the photo. Then maybe they'll try and remember more from there.
And they're still holding hands.
Yep, that's how we end. Duh.
Yeah, it is all.
Yeah.
So it was. This is interesting. What's really interesting is I was actually thinking to myself like, Yori is getting attached to this Mari. This is the Mari that she's interacting with. So if this Mari somehow goes away, and maybe comes back to the original Mari, how would Yori react now? Like if you think about it, right? She's always wanted to get rid of this one and get the old one back, but now that she's getting this attached, like this, she's getting closer to this Mari than she's ever had with the original Mari. Like she's.
And right before this all started, like remember, like Yori was getting
Mari goes away.
And if you remember, like right before this whole arc started, like Yori was getting like super friendly with Mari, as if like really super duper friendly.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. She's smiling when she's holding her hand. She's probably thinking about her relationship with Mari right now because you can see some of the solemn like looks in her face as she's looking at the sunset. I mean, like she's really become like friends and maybe possibly something more with this Mari, and it's just like. How would she react? I mean, I really have to ask that question. How would she react if she actually gets what she originally wanted? Because technically speaking, she's still working to that type of goal. But you know what I think? I think it's just an excuse for her to interact with Mari even more. I think the goal of replacing Mari is no longer the real goal. It's just find whatever excuse it takes to just have fun with her. Because I mean, look at the way she just talks about finding. The Ferris wheel, whatever. Going back to the Ferris wheel?
They want. I mean,
the park. She's smiling. She's laughing. I mean, like, oh my gosh, she's enjoying every second of it.
And on the one hand, the finding that Ferris wheel is either going to be very easy or downright impossible, depending if that park is even still existing.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's just the anticipation, like that feeling you get when you're about to go on a field trip, with your friend. It feels nice. And again, so if I don't think I finished this question, but if this Mari goes away just suddenly, and the original one comes back, how would Yori react? And maybe that's how the manga ends. Maybe Yori somehow gets this Mari to come back, and that's how the story ends.
Yep. Could be.
Because it'd be a great character development for probably definitely Mari and for Yori. So, right?
Yeah, that could work. So we definitely got to We definitely have some interesting stuff to kind of follow up here, depending on just where this whole thing with the looking for the Ferris wheel goes.
Yeah, but it is. This is a very adorable chapter. I mean, because you see the culmination of all the stuff they've worked. I mean, I've hated the whole. I mean, the way she treated Mari was really terrible.
Yeah,
but
first,
you see it was changing. Yeah, and then things were getting better, but they weren't there yet. I mean, you were just like, oh, you're almost there.
But I mean, I have to admit, I think these last two chapters I think are the most expressive I've ever seen Yori.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. It's believable. There's no suspension of disbelief happening because the character development was very natural and taken at a very very good pace.
Yeah.
It's not too fast. It wasn't too slow. Maybe a little slow, but not too slow in my opinion. And it was done in a way where you could believe that a girl who was like that from the start is now the girl you see in front of you in this chapter. I mean, I'm loving this this manga so far. So,
like I said, there's still a few little mysteries come up. Like I said, I do want to see where this Fumiko thing ends up leading to. That's the one thing for me.
Yeah, it is really weird. Like, what is this? Why was she had a different name? Why did her mama not talk about her? Again, I'm thinking it's the original personality, the original Mari.
Yeah, a thought I had earlier is there's a slight reveal, slight bit of spoiler here. But did you ever watch or hear of an anime called Another?
I've heard about it.
Well, one of the reveals in there, it's a minor one's with the main girl May. It's like, how do I put this here? Where's hang on, lost my train of thought there for a moment. Oh yeah, it's like, well, Another might not be the example I'm thinking of here, but basically the idea I had was, like if Mari was actually like, oh okay, I know where I was going with this. Sorry. And Another, like one of the reveals is that the main girl May Misaki, she was actually one of a pair of twins, but her family couldn't afford two children, so one twin was actually given to some relatives to raise because they had just lost their child. Because they just lost their child like in stillbirth or something like that. Okay. So so I wonder if there's something like that going on here where like Fumiko is actually like Mari / Fumiko was actually some relation's child who was taken in by Mari's parents. Actually, here's a question for you. Easy way to prove. Well, actually, no. Wait, here, hang on. When they were looking at the photo album before, do you remember they had baby pictures of Mari?
I don't think so.
Now I actually think I might be onto something. I was just kind of like thinking randomly a bit there, but now I wonder.
Yeah, I think this is actually the youngest we've seen of Mari.
Like the Fumiko one?
Yeah, that's the youngest. Okay, the Fumiko chapter, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one. Let's see.
Yeah, that's chapter 51. I think I'm taking a quick look at it right now.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm looking ahead. I think I'm on 52. So okay. Yeah, so 51's the one. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at the photo albums right now. I have pictures of them as a teenagers, when they were kids, at an amusement park with long hair. Okay, we have a picture of Mari holding her brother.
Brother?
Yeah.
No, Fumiko's the youngest.
Huh. Maybe there's something actually to this then. Like maybe Fumiko is Mari, but was taken in maybe either due to some identity crisis or something, was given a whole different name. Well,
here's my question. Who ripped it and who taped it back together? Because the picture's ripped.
Yep.
Who did that?
That's true.
See, even Steven said it like on this page, like page 18 of chapter 51. He's like, it was ripped and then taped back together? Like, she was like, what the hell happened here?
You know, now that they say grandmother, I kind of see what they're meaning about the last episode there, because that silhouette has old lady hair.
Yeah.
I kind of see what they're referring to right there.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm so intrigued by what... This is a very big plot point that I'm definitely excited for.
Another series that comes to my mind, do you know Usagi Drop or Bunny Drop?
Yeah, I think it's one. If it's what I'm thinking of, yeah, I've heard of it. But is it the one I don't? Is it the pedophile one?
No.
Good.
Or at least
it is. It is.
Not in the earliest chapters. Not in the first half. I know in the second half when she's a teenager, like there's like a weird little incesty thing going on there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one I don't like.
Yeah, and I never even read past that for precisely that reason once I read that little twist. But the part I'm referring to in this case is how, at the beginning of the story, like the little girl Rin is said to be the child of the main character's grandfather. Like and I pretty much like that. I'm not saying that she's the grandmother's daughter or anything, but in this case, I'm thinking like she's some kind of like unwanted bastard child or something like that. But she had to be taken in by somebody, so Mari's parents brought her in, but gave her a whole new name and identity or something like that.
Okay. It's not technically a pedophile when she's a teenager, but the fact that there's a ridiculous age difference is what bothers the shit out of me.
I could care less about the age. The age difference doesn't bug me about that so much as the fact that they are pretty much father and daughter. That is what gets me.
Yeah, that too. Not biological, but in an emotional way.
Right, and that's arguably more important.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah. Well, the kids. Well, I mean, if they have kids, that biological does become really important. But
yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
actually,
it's effed up. It's effed up. It's not a competition. It's effed up.
I mean, I think the end of the series says that they're not actually related, so I think that removes that particular issue. But at the same time, yeah, like I said, the age difference.
That's what they always do, though.
Yeah, I mean, the age difference.
They always make it like, oh, they're not related.
Yeah, the age difference bothers me less than the emotional incest involved. But anyway, like I said, we're talking about the wrong series here.
Yeah.
We're discussing the wrong series. Right. I was just bringing it up as an example of another idea I have for what could justify like her having a whole different identity as a child.
So, but well, I mean, one has to ask ourselves. We asked ourselves this question already. Was this the first time Mari, rewrote herself as someone else?
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe the original Mari, as we that maybe this is telling us that the original Mari was just one of many Maris before.
Yeah,
because one can ask, because you're getting about it. Yori is the one who's like the one she talks to when it comes to to observing the original Mari, like what was it about her? How did she walk? How did she move? But how long did Yori actually know this Mari? Maybe before Yori knew about her, there was a different Mari, and before then it was a different Mari, right?
Yep. Like I said,
at the same time, though, didn't Momoko know her for a while too?
I don't know how long Momoko knew her. I mean, I know that they were high school friends. They were kind of like the popular clique together. But even then, I don't know if she would have like noticed any big change in Mari if something like that happened.
Well, there was a big change now, but I don't know how big the changes were back then. If there were any changes, so
right. That's
I don't know. There's a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of things. But there's a lot of things we just don't know about, and we can only theorize. So far, the only thing we can think about is there's a Fumiko. She identifies herself as Fumiko. There's a grandmother. Her mom specifically seems to know what's going on, and someone ripped and taped back together the photo. Yeah. Those are very important key points that we have no idea of anything about. But what we do know is that Mari and Yori are in better terms, and hey, maybe there's a relationship that might come out of it. And ultimately, maybe Yori's the one that pulls back this Mari from oblivion if this Mari goes away.
Yep. Or at least, or maybe creates a different Mari or maybe it creates a more adjusted Mari somewhere down the road there. But there's definitely something I think we need to learn about here. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like a lot of this arc is to get Yori attached to this Mari, so that when the Mari goes away, I think Yori's gonna feel like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have wanted to replace this Mari. This is the Mari that actually wanted to talk to me for once, or the one that actually tried to interact with me a lot, and then I ended up taking her for granted. I think that's one of the stories, the roads that I think it's gonna go down to.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet, of course. I think that's gonna happen till the very that's not gonna happen till the very end, but I think that is. It's where going.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, though, yeah, the Fumiko thing is definitely interesting.
Yeah, there's a few different ways this could go, so it's just going to be a matter of where we'd go on there.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think I asked you this. Do you what Fumiko meant in Japanese and what Mari meant in Japanese? But
I don't. Yeah. I want to say I think I remember bringing it up, but I never actually looked it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can do that later. I don't know.
Yeah. Can't even think of it. Like I said, it might be worth looking into it. I think. Oh, that's right. I do remember you asked about that because I was wondering if there's like a Mari wiki at the time, and obviously he's not one because it's kind of an obscure series. And I don't know enough Japanese to really know. I don't even know what her name looks like in kanji. Come to think of it.
Okay, cool. It can mean kanji. I mean, not kanji. It can mean truth. It can mean long distance.
Is this Mari?
It can mean Jasmine. Yeah, this is Mari. And it can mean village.
Okay.
It can be, because the reason why it can be written in different ways.
Right, obviously. Like I said, what about Fumiko? I mean, the Ko part is a common thing for girls' names, but what about the Fumi part?
Let me try. Okay, so for Fumiko, I mean on Wikipedia here, Fumiko can be also read as Ayako. It means richness, beauty, and child.
Okay. Well, like I said, the Ko part is child.
Yeah, and Fumi is like beauty or history, I think. Richness, beauty, history, rose.
Okay. So there could be something that is like a past self of Mari.
Something like that. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I said, that's been our reviews of our little double feature of Inside Mari 55 and 56. They said, make sure if you have any special theories or any comments you want to share, put them in the comments there for us. Let us know what you think. In the meantime, go ahead and take us away.
Bye.